Welcome to the Huddle. Mr. Easy Day here, and we are on day 2 of our Bible in the Year plan. The reading for the day was Genesis chapters 4 through 6, Chronicles chapter 1, verses 1 through 4. If you guys didn't get a chance to do yesterday's reading, please go back and do yesterday's reading. Check out the video. Let me know your thoughts. Let's stay accountable. Let's keep this thing going, and let's knock out this Bible plan in a year. A lot of you have made comments saying that you have attempted something like this before, and that's okay, right? We are not focused on the past, and I think that chapters 4 through 6 will remind us of how much grace God just truly has for us. I am in awe of just how phenomenal He is. But let's get into it. So in chapter 4, we have Cain and Abel. We have the first biblical account of man and woman having sex, right? Adam and Eve had 2 sons they celebrate. First comes Cain, and then comes Abel. We have Abel, who was a shepherd. Cain was in the fields, right? They both brought gifts to God. And in the midst of that, God is pleased with Abel, right? He's happy. Thank you for your gifts. Cain comes. He's not happy. Cain isn't happy about that, right? He's upset. And he essentially goes to God and he's like, yo, you know, why didn't you like my gift? What's going on? And God warns him, right? He's like, heed this warning. If you continue down this path, right? If you essentially let sin in, then it will control you. And before that, he let him know, like, yo, but if you do the right thing, like, won't you be blessed? Did Cain listen? No, like most of us, right? Hard-headed. And Cain took his brother out to the field, and what did he do? He killed Abel. So now we have our first account of anger and murder in the Bible as well. So God comes and he's like, yo, Cain, where's your brother at? And what does Cain say? I'm not my brother's keeper. And remember that, right? Because a lot of us have forgotten about that. We're going to circle back to that. And God is like, yo, your brother's blood is calling up from me from the ground. And because you committed this sin, I am cursing you, right? Forever will be cursed. And Cain is like, God, that's not fair. Like, my punishment is too much to bear. What do I do? And God is like, yo, nobody's going to harm you. You're going to deal with this thing. Because if somebody does do anything to you, I will give them like 7 times the punishment that I planned for you. So Cain is exiled, goes on about his business. God marks him. We have our first murderer now. We get into chapter 5, and it is now just going through the generations of Adam, right? We are naming father after father after father, son after son after son. And until we get, I believe, 8 or 9 generations down, and then Noah is born. And Noah's dad is like, yeah, man, he's going to save us from all this hard work and labor and everything that came with the cursing from Cain, right? And then I know the reading kind of skips around because remember, this is the Bible in chronological order. So we go to 1 Chronicles 1 through 4, and it's essentially just giving us an account of what Adam's sons, like what their names were, and then Noah and his 3 sons as well. Shem, Ham, and Japheth were his 3 sons. We move on into chapter 6, and it is crazy out here, right? These men are seeing all these beautiful women, right? Because we have sons and daughters being made, and these dudes are just taking whoever they want for a wife. Greed, right? Just running rampant. Probably all types of craziness going on. And God is like, yo, y'all been living for way too long. I'm going to shorten this lifespan to 120 years because before that, we had people living 800, 900 plus some odd years, right? In chapter 5, it really gives us an account of how long everybody was living, right? Like Noah didn't have his sons until it says he was 500 years old. And God is pissed at this point. I can only imagine just all the craziness, this disobedience, just absolute disgust God must have felt because his plan, done with us, wipe us all out. He's I'm getting rid of everything, not just us, like the humans he created. This dude said he's getting rid of the livestock, the animals. Just I'm destroying this whole thing. God, I cannot believe I created you guys, and that's our first time of us actually seeing like God, like hurt and disappointed because we were just out here running rampant. But thankfully, Noah had favor with God. So God goes to Noah and he's like, hey, here's the plan. And the reason why I say is like Noah was the only blameless man living in the whole population of people. He was the only one. So God goes to him, he's like, yo, I'm wiping this whole thing out. I'm flooding the land. Go build a boat. And here's the thing when he gave Noah the commandment to build a boat, because I wrote this down because I thought this was important, right? He gave him specific instructions and measurements on what that should look like. And he told Noah to build a boat 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, 45 feet high with an 18-inch opening below and also to make sure it had 3 decks and a door on the side. And then Noah was also commanded to bring a pair of every single animal, livestock, bird, insect, right? Everything that was alive onto the boat. His sons and their wives can come too. And also, he was commanded to give enough food or bring enough food for everybody to survive. That is where we close out chapter 6. Chapter 4, crazy, right? It's like, man, we watched somebody kill their brother out of spite, right? That the anger was so strong inside of him that he wanted to kill somebody. And it made me think, like, man, I think that sometimes I have seen where we make the anger the bad thing, and it's okay to be angry, right? Things will upset us. It's what we do with the anger that's the problem. Meaning, Cain could have been angry. You remember, like, being a kid and your parents did something that you didn't like. Like, I remember my dad doing what he should have been doing, right, as a parent. I didn't like it at the time. I'm 6 or 7. You want to storm up to your room. We couldn't storm. We had to still be polite, and I couldn't slam the door. But I get behind that door. He's like, oh, like, I can't believe it. You think you're going to run away. You think you're going to fight your dad. Insert whatever it may be, right? That the anger is there, but the action didn't proceed it. There was no way in the world I was going downstairs to fight my dad or do any harm to him or any harm to my siblings. So I learned how to regulate that anger and then put it to the side. And then also start to check myself. And that's what Cain should have did. Like, God literally told you, hey, if you do the right thing, you'll be fine, right? Like, stop tripping. And he did it anyway. Fast forward past that, I think we see this thing that something the streets taught me before I was into the Bible was like, you are your brother's keeper, right? Like, you have your man's back. You have your friend's back. And I think from a Christian standpoint, we need to be more accountable to each other, right? When we see wrong, we should be able to pull that person to the side and correct them. When we figure something out, we should want to go share that information to make sure that we help and encourage somebody else. If I decide to do this Bible plan, right, I should use my voice or my influence, my platform to share, hey, this is what we have going on. This is what I'm learning from the word. I would love to know your revelation from it as well. So I think that is our duty for sure. I'm going to skip past chapter 5 because it literally just gave us lineage of who's who had who. Same thing with those first couple of verses in Chronicles. But then when we fast forward to chapter 6, I think it's just interesting seeing that God was literally disgusted with us, right? I can't imagine what we had to do to just piss God off that much. And for me, when I first read through this, I think that I had this picture of God being like this, like, almost hippie. And I'm not saying it in an offensive way, just saying like, peace is love, guys. Everything is cool. I'm going to love you regardless. And I think this is the reminder from the very start. It's like, man, from creation, we have been tripping. But thankfully, God did find favor within Noah, so that saved us. Which also reminded me that, man, a lot of us are the few in a crowd of many, right? You may be the only believer around. You may be the only person saying, hey, I don't want to do this. You may be the only person for your family, the first person in a generation to do something and say that you won't change. And that's okay, right? Because in the world where you want to do something different, right? In the world where Noah was the only blameless person, he was extremely blessed for that. And for anybody that's on this journey by themselves, or they feel like they're by themselves, remember that you're never by yourself, right? God 1000% has your back. Just stop focusing on what everybody else is doing and make sure you're focusing on you doing the right thing and you always having good moral character. Something that stuck with me, not even just from the Bible, but from a coach that I had, was it's not about what you do when everybody can see you, but what are you doing when nobody can't, right? Are you still making the best decisions? Are you still presenting yourself well? Are you still holding yourself accountable without the public's opinion, without the public shame, without the public actually knowing what you're doing? And I think that's something for us all to think about, right? In the midst of us having anger, in the midst of us feeling like God didn't appreciate our offering or blessing, in the midst of us feeling like we are the few amongst the many, do you still make the decision to do what's right in spite of it all? And I sincerely hope that you do. And with that, let's just wrap up day 2, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow.